know that feeling when you just know something's off about someone's vibe? Now flip that for a second. What if it's your energy that's shifting the whole room without you even realizing it? That sudden weird silence when you enter, that heavy tension you can't explain. It's not just social awkwardness. It's not just in people's heads. It's a real sign. A sign that your soul is already vibrating at a frequency the space around you can't quite hold. Highly vibrational people don't just live, they change things. They break through false masks. They bend the flow of time without even trying, simply by being their true selves. In today's video, we're diving deep into the 11 powerful things that only highly vibrational people experience. And if you recognize yourself in these moments, it's because your energy speaks louder than your words ever could. So stay with me all the way to the end, because you might finally realize that the very thing that makes you feel different is actually what makes you irresistibly magnetic. And hey, if you haven't smashed that subscribe button yet, do it now. Because there's a lot more truth where this came from. You step into a room and everything shifts. You don't have to say a word. You don't have to make a sound. But somehow, everyone notices. That's because your energy arrives before your body does. Your presence says everything, long before you speak. That's the unseen reality of vibration. Carl Jung once said, "Enlightenment doesn't come from imagining figures of light, but from making the darkness conscious." When someone becomes aligned on the inside, the entire field around them shifts. Everything starts to vibrate differently. Sure, everyone emits something, but very few can hold a vibration that's true to their soul. Most people are caught up in mental noise, buried emotions, scripted conversations. You can feel it when someone is still hiding. Their presence feels scattered, disconnected, like their words are saying one thing, but their energy is telling you another story. When someone starts to align their inner world with their true self, the organizing center of the psyche, as Carl Jung called it, everything about their energy changes. Some people walk in quietly, yet somehow leave the whole room alert, awake, tuned in. Their presence is so real that no one can truly ignore it. Your energy speaks for you even when you stay silent. People feel it. They might not understand why, but they instinctively know there's something different about you. It's like your whole being quietly says, "I'm real." And that authenticity leaves a mark. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it makes people uncomfortable, but it's never neutral. And that's when small, almost invisible shifts begin to happen. Shifts you can't control and others can't explain. It doesn't matter if you're in a noisy cafe, a tense meeting room, or just waiting in line at the supermarket. The energy in the air changes when you show up. It's not about charm. It's not a social trick. It's the undeniable effect of your energy aligning with your true self. Carl Jung spoke about the deep, symbolic power that radiates from the self. When your inner world lines up authentically, the collective unconscious picks it up instantly without needing words or logic. There's no forcing, no planning. It's like the deeper mind of everyone around you senses the silent order you carry. And this, right here, is the first thing that highly vibrational people experience. Your very presence interrupts the invisible noise around you. You're not trying to dominate the space. It's just that your energy reorganizes the environment naturally. And that's not a privilege. It's a responsibility. Because The field around you vibrates with whatever you're carrying inside. If what you carry is truth, wholeness, and presence, then your vibration brings a silent order to the chaos in others. At first, it feels strange. It can even feel uncomfortable, like people are judging you or like you don't belong. But that's not it. What's really happening is the environment adjusting to your presence. Your energy is speaking to the parts of people they usually keep hidden. So even in complete silence, you're already saying something powerful. The second thing that highly vibrational people experience is almost impossible to avoid. Masks fall around them. You're just there, fully present, really listening, making the real eye contact, breathing calmly, and without even trying, the person in front of you starts to open up. It begins subtly. A shift in their voice, a longer pause between words, a quiet confession slipping out. Suddenly, the conversation is deeper than either of you expected, and you didn't even ask for it. The truth rises to the surface, not because you force it, but because your energy simply doesn't make room for anything fake. Highly vibrational people carry a quiet kind of integrity, and integrity by nature acts like a gravitational field. It pulls out authenticity and dissolves performance. Carl Jung called it the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted, to fit in. But near someone who is truly whole, that mask begins to slip, sometimes even without the person realizing it. It's why you might often hear things like, "I don't know why I'm telling you this," or "I've never told this to anyone before." You're not digging for their secrets. You're simply being real. And the truth finds you because it instinctively knows it's safe. You don't demand vulnerability. You create space for it. Truth feels safe around people who have made peace with their own truth. That's why, near you, people drop the act, even if just for a moment, even if they feel exposed later, because energy doesn't lie, and what's real will always find a way out. The third thing that happens to highly vibrational people doesn't make logical sense. It just happens naturally, like a reflex of life itself. Children stare at you longer. Some smile shyly. Others walk right up to you without hesitation. They sit close. They touch your hand. They stay near you quietly, as if studying you, or maybe remembering something they already know deep down. And animals, even more so. Dogs that were barking a restless calm down at your feet. Cats approach you, brush against you, and settle down nearby like they've found a safe place in the world. Nature recognizes coherence. It responds to true energy with instinctive trust. Carl Jung wrote that the unconscious knows symbols and deeper truths without needing explanation. Animals and children live much closer to that unconscious space. They don't wear masks. They don't fake smiles to fit in. They simply feel. And the third thing highly vibrational people experience is exactly this. The most sensitive beings, children, animals, even nature itself, are drawn to you, pulled closer by what is real inside you. It's not about the words you say. It's about the vibration you live. Because when your energy is clear, grounded, and free from inner noise, everything around you can feel it. It transmits something that these beings understand instantly without needing to think about it. They don't need to analyze your words or decode your body language. They feel your intention. They read your energy, not your appearance. Children and animals don't care about your job title, your polished way of speaking, or how hard you try to seem friendly. They're only asking one simple silent question. Is your presence safe? Is it real? And when it is, they trust you without hesitation. It seems so simple, but it reveals something deeply powerful. A soul that has started to align with the self. A frequency that speaks straight to instinct, cutting through all the noise. And here's the truth. It doesn't happen by accident. It's not something you're born with ready-made. It's something you build, often through the fires of being broken and having to put yourself back together. Only those who have seen their own souls shattered and survived understand what it truly means to live vibrating with truth. And every time, the answer shows up the same way. Closeness, curiosity, peace. These encounters are silent, but they say everything. Your energy speaks the original language of nature, and that's not something you can fake. It's not something you can teach. It's only something you can be, and others can only feel. The fourth thing that highly vibrational people experience often leaves logical minds scratching their heads. It's something that can't be explained easily, but it keeps happening anyway. Intuition kicks in before thought. You step into a situation where nothing has been said aloud, yet you already know what's going on underneath. You feel when something's off, even when every surface detail looks fine. You pick up on someone's sadness hiding behind their smile. You sense the tension in a room where everyone insists everything's great. Carl Jung called this active imagination, a bridge between the conscious mind and the deep unconscious. A silent dialogue built not on words, but on images, emotions, and symbolic flashes of truth. When someone begins to align with their self, this way of perceiving reality gets louder, sharper, more undeniable. The soul starts speaking first. And the fourth thing highly vibrational people experience is this: a direct, instinctive reading of the real world underneath appearances. Before the mind even gets involved, you feel it. Your whole body becomes a living sensor. Your skin reacts before your brain finds a reason. You walk into a space and immediately sense where there's openness and where there's resistance, where there's truth, and where there's performance. It's like carrying a compass that always points you toward what's real, even if no one else notices it yet. And yes, it can be confusing at first. The mind will try to argue, to second guess, to call it an exaggeration. But it's not a flaw. It's not a burden. It's a gift. And if you learn to trust it, it will always lead you deeper into truth, inside yourself and in the world around you. It'll ask you for proof, but deep down, the soul already knows. And every time you insist on doubting it, you'll feel it. That strange discomfort, that restlessness you can't explain, that subtle heaviness that creeps into your chest when you ignore what you already sensed was true. Intuition isn't there to argue with you. It doesn't offer explanations. It offers direction. It speaks in goosebumps, in sudden chills, in flashes of insight, in that calm certainty that comes out of nowhere, or sometimes in dreams, in quiet symbols, or in a dense, unshakable silence that fills the room. And those who are vibrating with more presence, they know. They've started trusting this language not because it's mysterious, but because it works. Over time, you start to see this sensitivity isn't about trying to predict the future. It's about protecting your truth. It's about listening to the part of you that's always been connected to something bigger, something wiser. The self communicates like this, not through your mind, but through your energy field, your body, your intuition. And when you start trusting those signals, your life begins to shift, quietly but powerfully, into a different frequency. The fifth thing that happens when your vibration rises isn't visible from the outside. You won't see it in the mirror, but it shapes everything you do, say, and feel. It's something that happens inside out, like old inner battles finally calling a truce and learning to dance together. You realize you don't have to pick sides between being strong or being kind. You understand you can be courageous without becoming cold. You see that real strength doesn't mean being hard, and that deep empathy doesn't make you weak. This isn't wishful thinking. It's a real psychological transformation. Carl Jung called it the integration of anima and animus, the merging of the feminine and masculine energies that exist within every one of us. And the fifth thing highly vibrational people experience is exactly this, the beginning of a deep, natural fusion between the masculine and feminine forces inside themselves. This isn't about gender, it's about the balance of energies within you. There's the part of you that acts, that builds, that decides. That's the animus. And there's the part that feels, that nurtures, that intuits. That's the anima. When these two sides stop fighting and start collaborating, your whole life transforms. You act with sensitivity. You listen with direction. You feel with clarity. It changes the way you communicate. It deepens your relationships. It sharpens your decisions, not because you followed a list of pros and cons, but because you moved from a place of true wholeness. And the most important shift, you stop desperately seeking outside yourself for what you were always missing inside. People who haven't yet integrated these energies keep searching for others to fill what they lack. But when you rise into this balance, you realize everything you need to build, to feel, to grow, and to love. It's already within you. They keep repeating the same patterns, creating dependencies, staying stuck in cycles. But when you vibrate with coherence, you've already moved beyond that. You've confronted your own imbalances, stopped blaming the world, and understood that true harmony starts from within. This kind of integration doesn't make you immune to pain or doubt, but it gives you something even more powerful, a center. Now, you can be gentle and direct, kind and strong, logical and intuitive. And the world feels that shift because this balance radiates something rare, the presence of someone who has nothing to prove. You're no longer fighting yourself, and that means your energy no longer needs to fight anything. Eventually, something happens. Shallow conversations, the small talk, the scripted dialogues start to feel draining. You try to smile, to engage, to appear light and carefree, but inside it feels like your energy is leaking out, little by little. It's not about arrogance or coldness, it's just the simple truth. It's incompatible vibration. And here's the sixth thing that happens when you vibrate at a high frequency. You can't fake interest in superficial interactions anymore. You can't keep up with relationships that are only skin deep, where the body is present, but the soul isn't. You feel it. You can tell when a conversation is on autopilot, when the laughter isn't genuine, when people avoid silence because it might reveal something real. Your field, which used to bend to fit in, now says no. It's like you've become allergic to anything that isn't aligned with your truth. Jung spoke about individuation, the process of becoming whole, and part of that journey is letting go of everything that doesn't resonate with your soul's deepest truth. And this shift starts to happen naturally. It's not about judgment, it's about self-preservation. What nourishes you changes, and so does what drains you. You might still be polite, still be open, but the deepest part of you no longer gives energy to places where there's no real presence. The world still revolves around distractions and convenience, but when you're vibrating at a different frequency, it feels like you're breathing at a different pace. And that disconnect, it's undeniable. You don't need deep conversations all the time, but you do need something real, even if it's just a moment of shared silence or a glance where everything is understood without saying a word. This need for authenticity isn't something you impose on others. It's a recognition from your soul, a shift that's happened inside you. Lightness is still welcome, but only if it's rooted in truth. And yes, this shift might reduce the number of your interactions, shrink your circle, but it clears the space in ways that matter. And in that quiet space, you finally start to hear yourself. There's a pattern that begins to repeat when your energy reaches a new level. You enter a room, interact with others, and something shifts, not in the room, but inside of them. At first it's subtle. Maybe it's a sideways glance, a comment that doesn't quite match the moment, or a resistance you can't quite explain. Then it grows. Projections, judgments, awkward discomforts. It's almost like your presence flicked on a light, and suddenly, rooms that others wanted to keep dark are illuminated. And the seventh thing that highly vibrational people experience is this. They begin to perceive the shadows in others, and it doesn't shake them. Carl Jung described the shadow as everything we repress, reject, or forget about ourselves, our fears, impulses, pain, anger, inconvenient truths. When you've already faced your own shadow, made peace with your demons, and accepted the parts of you that others might deny, your very presence becomes threatening to someone else's ego. You carry light, but this light isn't about impressing anyone. It's about illuminating what's hidden. You're not doing anything on purpose. You're simply being. And that's enough to stir reactions in others. Some people withdraw, some lash out, while others are drawn in but quickly retreat. Why? Because your presence invites them to face their own truths, and not everyone is ready for that. The most important part? You see it all for what it is, and you don't take it personally. You know when a criticism isn't yours to carry, when the discomfort you stir isn't about you. You can tell when someone's irritation reflects something unresolved within them, and that gives you freedom. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself, shrink down, or dim your light just to avoid unsettling others. You begin to understand the unspoken dynamics around you. You recognize what's shifting, but you stay grounded, not because you're cold, but because you've reached an energetic maturity. You no longer feel responsible for other people's shadows. Your light reveals them, but you choose not to let their darkness contaminate your energy. There are people who, when they arrive, cause everything to speed up. Conversations turn into noise, spaces become tense, and time seems scattered and unfocused. But then there are those who do the opposite. When they enter, everything slows down. Words take on more weight, silence becomes comfortable, and time seems to stretch out. And the eighth thing highly vibrational people experience is this. They create a sense of timelessness around them. It's as if your mere presence suspends the world's urgency. The frantic pace around you loses its grip. People start to breathe differently. You're not rushing to get somewhere, you're just present. And that presence is so powerful that it reorders time itself. Jung spoke about the union of ego and self as a state of totality, where psychological time, the one that ties us to expectations and memories, loses its grip. You start to live fully in the present, and that energy starts to affect everyone around you. In your presence, people begin to hear themselves more clearly. They start noticing their own restlessness and find themselves calming down, not because you're forcing peace, but because you embody it. This kind of presence is rare because it demands inner silence. It requires you to not be distracted by what doesn't matter and to make peace with your own emptiness. Even in chaotic environments, you start to realize that your energy holds space for calm, like the eye of a storm. And that calm doesn't go unnoticed. People might not be able to explain it, but they feel it. They seek your presence even if they can't put it into words.